You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you. Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey. While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her. Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society. Oh, if only that were the case, but I don't make the rules. I have to say I'm surprised at your reluctance thus far, but unfortunately for the both of us, you're the only one who can pull this off. Like I said, I don't make the rules, no matter how much I wish I did. Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it. It's a secret, but I think you'll like it. It's a special reward, just for you. And whatever you think it might be, I can promise you it's going to be even better than your wildest imagination. Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end. I mean, maybe some people do, like nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right? Are you serious? No, you have to do it. Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Oh, are you now? Why don't you come down and let me take a look at you?
Great job. You gave away the element of surprise. Good luck, hero. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
You weren't kidding when you said you were here to kill me. That giant knife you're holding kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
The blade. Of course she doesn't want to talk. Who'd want to have a conversation at knife point? We should drop it. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster. But killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. You go into this expecting to die, you're going to die.
Hesitating? Why don't you drop the knife and the two of us can be civilized with each other? Then I'm not talking to you.
You stare at the princess, squinting. She squints back.
The two of you are going to do this forever, aren't you? You squint even harder. So does she. At least nobody's dying right now.
You're going to have to make a choice. You can't keep squinting forever. Eventually, someone is going to have to blink. You charge the princess, blade trembling in your hand, but you've already lost the battle. She casually sidesteps your thrust before knocking you to the ground with a single blow from her elbow.
We shouldn't have hesitated.
But she doesn't stop there. She kicks you a few times for good measure, the pointed tip of her shoes feeling like a pickaxe against your fracturing bones, making sure you stay down. As you lie, crushed and broken on the basement floor, the princess kneels on your throat with the kind of weight you didn't think her slight frame could possibly possess. As you gasp for air, she eyes you with an intense curiosity. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you.
Is this really the best you could do? Look at you. Completely broken. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed.
She applies more pressure, slowly squeezing what's left of your life out of your lungs.
This is the end, isn't it?
I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. it hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. What does it matter what he knows? There's nothing we can do to stop her. She's just going to kill us again. She is not going to kill you unless you let her, but slaying the princess and saving the world is going to be much more difficult than it has to be if you spend the whole time second-guessing yourself. Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. Of course we died. We couldn't land a single blow on her, and she broke every bone in our body before she decided to let us die. What were we supposed to do to stop her then? What are we supposed to do to stop her now? It's pointless. She's just a princess. Slaying her shouldn't have been difficult, but congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. The princess killed us and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? If she ended the entire world, why should we even bother? We might as well just walk up to that cabin, break her chains and let her do whatever she wants. It's all the same in the end. Just because she's capable of ending the world doesn't mean you're not capable of slaying her. Both of those things can be true at the same time. So chin up. I believe in you. Just be quick about it. Like I said, if she killed you, it was probably because you didn't listen to me. Don't talk to her, don't trust her, just go in, do your job, and save the world. She is just a princess. Whatever you think happened to you last time, just get it out of your head before you get to the cabin and you'll be fine. Or we could pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending that we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower us. Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge?
not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic.
You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I cannot stress enough how absolutely catastrophic that would be for everyone, yourself included. I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult. The less you know about her, the better. People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things. Look, I'm not supposed to say this, but it's because you're special. You're the only person capable of doing this. Call it a prophecy, if that helps, but it's just the way things are. Oh, I didn't know we were special. Of course you're special. Why else would you be here?
Who cares if you think we're special? As far as I can tell, the only thing special about us is that we get to experience painfully dying all over again.
Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Lying? Cheating? Why would she even bother? She didn't need to do anything like that last time. She caught us off guard last time. We'll be fine. Let's just keep our wits about us. At least one of you still has a shred of sense. Just make sure you listen to him and not that whiner. If that's what you want, I guess I don't have a say here.
The interior of the cabin is larger and more grandiose than its humble exterior would suggest. The only furniture of note is a massive marble altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Why do we feel so small? We don't feel small. We are small. That's because there isn't a mirror. There's the altar, the blade sitting on the altar, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't.
Who cares if there's a mirror? We're all going to die anyway, and I'm sure that if we looked in there, we'd just see something sad and miserable looking back at us. We don't need any reminders of what we are. It would only make things worse.
For the last time, you're not going to die unless you let it happen. And luckily for you, there isn't a mirror, so no one needs to worry about confronting a grisly visage any time in the near future. Though, for what it's worth, if there were a mirror, I'm sure that you wouldn't find anything sad or miserable in it looking back at you. You probably look perfectly normal. Probably. Do you not know what we look like?
He knows. He just doesn't have the heart to tell us. As do I. And yeah, there is.
I'm not lying to you. Use your eyes. There is no mirror. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? Let you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
We should count ourselves lucky. Some things are better left unseen.
Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase. Its steps almost as deep as you are tall. The smell of incense drifts up from below. For a moment, you almost feel at ease.
This is actually kind of nice.
It's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her booming voice rolls up the stairs.
Is that a guest I hear? Don't linger on the stairs. Come down and witness me.
You weren't kidding when you said it was booming. She wasn't like this last time. We need to get down there. She wants us to see her. We need to see her. Should we be worried about your sudden change in attitude? Just a few minutes ago you were going on about how pointless everything was. Now you want to go down there.
It doesn't matter what that little voice says. He's not the one making the decisions. Though if his ramblings get you to the princess, they get you to the princess. Making your way down the spiral staircase is a time-consuming and exhausting effort, every step requiring you to clamber over one edge before dropping to the next. But soon the end comes into view, and you tumble to the bottom, entering the vast, temple-like room beyond. The princess towers over you, almost glowing in the weak starlight, her figure framed by a stained glass window. Her long hair billows around her, and a chain binds her wrist to the far wall. The chain is nothing to her. It might as well be a toy for all the good it would do. I told you it was pointless to resist her.
The little bird has returned to me. I wonder what he wants. You've brought that knife again, even though you know it's useless. Such charming audacity. Drop it.
As if on command, the blade slips from your grasp. It clatters uselessly to the floor. But we didn't drop it. We decided to grip it tighter, remember? Are you really just going to let that happen to us? I have a duty to report facts as facts, and the fact is that you dropped the blade.
Of course we dropped it. She's so much more than us. You wouldn't understand what it feels like to be in her presence. Oh, I understand what's going on, and you'd better snap yourself out of it.
Kneel. Oh, are you still trying to defy me? I said kneel.
Your legs buckle, and your knees hit the floor.
That's my good little bird. Now, why don't we talk? The last time we met, you couldn't even scratch me. And yet here you are again, trying to succeed where you've already catastrophically failed. What draws you back here beyond the empty halls of death? Speak.
The last time we met? I suppose that lends credence to our conversation in the woods. Still, whatever you do, don't tell her why you're here. It's best not to give her any ideas.
Perhaps you need another lesson in submitting to your betters. Pick up that needle.
Do it. It's what she wants. No objections here. I don't know what she's planning, and I don't like that we don't know what she's planning, but we might as well pick up the blade. As your eye falls on the blade, you feel a weight. Some divine hand that sits unperceived by your senses, but that manages to push you towards its desires like an unseen puppeteer. You reach forward and grasp the blade.
Stand.
This one's easy. See? This isn't so bad. Okay, yeah. We can do that. We were probably going to stand anyway. You can feel a creaking tension between body and will as you slowly rise to your feet, like two foes forced into an unhappy truce. The princess eyes you with soft contemplation. The moment seems to last a lifetime, the silent anticipation of what's to come dragging out the long, painful seconds. But all silences are broken eventually.
To defy me is to claim we stand on level ground. We do not. You are quiet shadow, while I am brilliant radiance. Take that knife in your hand and slit your throat.
What? You don't have to listen to her. You're armed. Just steel your nerves, step forward, and end this. Oh, we'll end this all right. Your hand lifts the blade and brings it towards your throat. Okay, I apologize for the unclear language. End her. Your body is sluggish and unresponsive, actively fighting against you, but you do your best to stagger forward. One step at a time,
you move towards the princess.
Slitting your throat would have been a mercy, but it seems you're in need of a harsher lesson. Plunge that knife into your lungs.
I'm sorry.
Don't! As you take another step forward, the blade digs into your ribs, slicing through flesh with ease. It somehow feels like an entirely natural thing to do, while the simple act of walking has become an arduous impossibility. Then it slides back out, the wound burning as a small hiss of air escapes through the fresh orifice. Blood fills your lungs.
Now, do it again. Keep doing it until I give you permission to stop.
Those are just words. You don't have to listen to her.
It's what she wants.
You, heroic one, what are you doing? Don't just let this happen. Stop him from killing you. I'm on it. Your other hand locks around your wrist, struggling to keep it from perforating vital organs. But the blade still flails towards you, managing to slice bits of skin that plop to the floor to join the growing pile of blood and gore beneath you. Despite the pain, you manage to keep yourself in one piece, at least for now.
What a pitiful display. A wounded little bird, thinking it can defy a god. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to hurt so much. You can choose a gentle end. You can choose to leave that punctured vessel for the next. Or you can pathetically struggle against yourself until the floor of this temple is painted with the bloody impressions of your futility.
You continue to approach the princess, even as the repeated gouges of your blade expose bone and muscle to the open air of the basement. You know, this would be a lot easier if you gave us a hand. My influence only goes so far, and I can only juggle so many things at once. The best I can do right now is to continue to drive you forward. Believe me, this whole ordeal would be so much easier if I didn't have to contend with free will.
You're the one making things difficult. You're the one making us hurt. She doesn't want to hurt us. She's just doing what she has to.
Stop.
As you finish crossing the room, you fall to your knees at the princess's feet, your chest heaving as your blood pools in the crevices of the stone floor, the coppery taste coating your throat. The princess kneels down, lifting your chin with her finger as her face lowers to yours.
Your devotion is misplaced. You've surrendered to delusion. But something about your defiant spirit speaks to me. You are different than you were before. Perhaps, if you've learned your lesson, I can spare you from the release of death. There's a place at my side for you, if you'll have it. Not as an equal, but as something worthy to be kept. A priest, perhaps, or a pet.
Well, that's demeaning, isn't it? Yes, how thoughtful of her. It's a mercy. Take it. I think he's given up whatever say he had at the start of all this. At least one of you is sane. She's within striking distance, and she's only negotiating now because she knows you have what it takes to put an end to her. Seize the moment before it's too late.
That's right. I can feel your heart opening to me. And there's what you've been chasing. The motivation that dragged you across the floor, bleeding and choking. I am destined to destroy the world. Something about that thought wraps itself around my heart, as if it's a fundamental truth to my being that I'd somehow forgotten. The collapse of the old is a necessary prelude to the birth of the new, and the world as it is now is overdue for alterations. It's time for us to seize my destiny.
If this is what you want, then I guess there's not much else for me to say.
No, you can't just give in to her. Not when the stakes are so high. Not when you're so close. I won't let you do this.
There's still something in the way. A greasy film inside of you where it doesn't belong, trying to conceal you from me. Is that a person? No, it used to be a person. It's something different now. An echo.
Is she talking about you? That's impossible. She's not supposed to be able to interact with me.
You're a small one, aren't you? A shriveling little worm stretched beyond its limits, trying to control things that it can't understand.
No. What are you talking about?
I don't care what you are. You're mine.
Ah!
Rise, my little bird.
Without hesitation, you're brought to your feet.
Break my chains.
And how are we supposed to do that? All we have is a blade.
All you need to do is believe it's been done. There's nothing to be sorry about. This is how it was always going to be. And it is good.
Alright, I'm done with this. I'm just gonna go sit in the corner. Let me know if we get our agency back.
You poor, wretched little thing. You already do believe. You've always believed. All you have to do is open the last door to your heart. It's easy. And once you let her in, you'll be safe and free forever.
Please, don't do this.
Her chains shatter, and the cuff falls from her wrist. She is loose, and the end is upon us.
What a good disciple you are. Come, it's time for us to leave. Nothing, and then everything.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? It is. Does that mean the world ended? Figures the world would end and leave us with all this nothing.
Right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing. I feel anxious. Does anyone else feel anxious? There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should. I don't want to look at us. I'm begging you, don't do this. It's different now. It feels, I don't know, final.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel. I am solitary lights in an empty city. What are you? I think that you are like me. We are oceans reduced to shallow creeks. Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own. This one is dominance, a figure capable of bending everything to her will. She will make for a terrifying and divine heart. Do not mourn her, for she would not be able to mourn you. How can the world have ended if we are talking? You are the only thing I have ever known. The space we're in is vacant. Nothing comes here but us. I have only just now stirred to consciousness. I could not have trapped you here, and I too yearn to be free. She is part of me, and part of me is her. You speak in circles. Does it matter where one thing begins and another ends? I know only that they are. You are familiar, but you are not me. I feel sadness, longing, hope as I witness you. I'm sorry. There are some changes that can never be undone. There are some tears that can never be unshed.
This is not a place that can hold a fragment of a concept. The moment she arrived here, she was going to return to me. I promise that it doesn't hurt. Nothing, as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives, so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom. More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home. I have not lived. I am not afraid to die. You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold. How can I know? I am flickers in something sprawling and unilluminated. Everything, until we meet again. Then we will be here forever, as we are now, unfinished, dry, hollow. If you need time, then I'll wait with you. You are as I am now, and forever is a long time to remain undone. I am not you, but I know that I would return before forever was finished. What textures will you weave for yourself to occupy forever? Will you place the images of you and I into a box for safekeeping? If you close that box, will you become another you in another world? An imaginary pattern repeating itself until it can no longer bear the weight of its hand-drawn cage. You'll always come back to the box, because you'll always want to know what it means to be you. I will be here waiting by your side until you're ready to return to mine. You have returned to me. Though you were gone mere moments, I never left your side. She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. That's the spirit. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
Oh? No talking then? Fine. What even makes you think you can kill me? I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. You lunge forward without a moment's hesitation. You feel flesh easily give way and look down to see your blade already sinking deep into her heart.
Oh. This is it, isn't it? I'm almost embarrassed. I should have seen that coming. But I have to wonder. Do you actually believe this was enough to kill me?
It's like she's convinced she can't die.
Yes, even as she lays there dying, she entirely believes herself to be alive and well. But it's over, isn't it? She stopped breathing moments ago, that arrogant look still plastered on her face.
But is it over? Really over?
Yes, exactly. It's over. With your work done, you make your way back up the stairs, closing the door to the basement behind you.
Why do I feel like we've done something terrible?
You did kill someone. Greater good or not, something would be very wrong with you if you didn't feel at least a little bad. But it was for the greater good. One of these days that will sink in and help ease your guilty conscience.
But that day isn't today. Let's just get out of here.
You open the cabin door, ready to return to a world saved from certain doom.
Only a world saved from certain doom isn't what you find. Instead, what you find is nothing at all. Where a lush forest stood mere minutes ago, the only thing in front of you now is the vast emptiness of some place far away.
What happened?
Everyone is fine. It's just that you and the cabin are now far away from them. Don't worry. You'll be safe here. This is good. Everyone is happy. You'll be happy.
This isn't an ending. In fact, now that the princess has been slain, endings are a thing of the past. No. This is the beginning of eternity. Your reward. This is what's best for everyone. Trust me. Time passes. You can't be sure if it's days or months or years or even decades. It's all a wonderful, boring blur. You've never been happier. Psst. Hey. We're not just going to stay here forever, right? Are we really happy? Or is he just telling us that we are? Good, because I have an idea to get us out of here, though you're probably not going to like it. The blade. We can use the blade to get out of this. I can hear everything you say, little voice. There's only one thing it would want you to use that blade on, and I'm afraid that thing is you, dear hero. He's right. It's the only way out. Do you hear that? It wants to take this happiness away from you. It wants this wonderful place to end. Do you not? There's more for us to do, and the only way for us to do it is to take that blade and use it. Don't you dare. How astute. You are absolutely correct. Using the blade to kill yourself would kill you, and you shouldn't do it. In a sense, we die, but looking at things from another angle, are we even really alive anymore? This place, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's just the same thing, constantly, forever. I know this is out there, but trust me, I know using the blade will work. That little voice didn't want you to slay the princess. It didn't want you to be happy. If we die, you can yell at me all you want. I made this happy little place for you. Is this not a good enough reward for saving the world? An eternity of bliss? You ingrate? Fine. Whatever. For the first time since time stopped meaning anything, you throw open the door to the basement and walk down the stairs. The princess's body is dust and bones, though the blade you used to slay her is still as pristine as the day you first held it. You pick up the blade, you stab yourself, and you die. The end. Nice knowing you. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I can assure you that you're not dead. And to answer your second question, you're here to slay the princess. I literally told you that a second ago. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. That's fine. It wasn't very hard to kill her last time. We'll just do it again. Well, if for whatever reason you're going to insist that this has happened before, at least your heart's in the right place. warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
She won't be a problem. The interior of the cabin is cold, a soft odor of dirt permeating the air. Cobwebs flutter in the corners. You can hear wind whistling outside, banging the shutters against the windows. The only furniture of note is an elegant antique table with a pristine blade perched on the edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. It feels like no one's been here for a long, long time. Like I've been saying, she's dead. We killed her already.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
But there was a mirror a second ago. And now it's gone. Let's not spend much longer worrying over it. Clearly it's not even important enough to be acknowledged.
You take the blade from the table. It will be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
The door to the basement groans open, revealing an old banister and a creaky wooden stairwell. Everything is coated in a thick layer of dust, and you can feel it settle into your lungs as you breathe in the stale air. The very building itself feels dead. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. The room below is silent. Nobody's here. Naturally. As much as I appreciate the optimism, you shouldn't be so sure. I guess we'll just have to go down and see. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view. A skeletal body lying in a heap on the floor, its wrist still bound to the wall by a thick chain. Okay, she's definitely dead. It's just like I told you. Before you have a chance to finish your thought, the top of a head appears from underneath the floor. Two deep-set eyes stare up at you, followed by a mischievous, skeletal grin. And finally, the rest of the body floats up to join the head. Wait, this isn't right. What's going on here? Ghost! Oh, wow. How absolutely terrifying. What's a ghost supposed to do to us?
Oh, it's you. Hiya, Keller. I was hoping to see you again. I have some issues with how our last meeting went.
The princess drifts across the room into your orbit, gently running her fingers across your shoulders and down your neck as she circles you. Her touch is cold and ethereal, formless yet real enough that her icy fingertips send shivers dancing across your skin. So she has a body, and she's right there. That means we could kill her again, if we wanted to.
Without a moment's hesitation, you lash out with your blade. It's like you're slashing at air. No matter how many times you stab at her, no matter how many angles you strike from, all you manage to do is interrupt her form, the skin of your hand prickling with cold as it passes through, unable to find anything solid.
You're adorable when you're confused.
The lieutenant said you could touch me.
Why are you even here? Just making sure you finish the job, or what? You don't look dead, killer.
The princess grabs your wrist, a sudden shock of cold flowing all the way up your arm, her eyes still fixed on yours as you try to squirm out of her grip.
And you don't feel dead either.
She lets go and pulls away. Your fingertips tingle painfully as the chill subsides.
I'm less interested in why you are, or how you are, and a lot more interested in what you are. I've tried to leave on my own. Before you came back to me, I explored every inch of this place, even the spaces between the walls. But I never found a way out. I always wound up right back here. I just want to go home. I'm so cold and alone here. But you can come and go as you please, can't you? So, let me hitch a ride.
After all, you owe me.
Absolutely not. Is she asking if she can possess us? She is, and I hope I don't need to explain why you can't let that happen. It would be catastrophic if she managed to escape this place, and if you let her in, there is very little anyone could do to stop her. Would she be able to see us if we went along with it? Now, isn't that an interesting thought? We could finally bring her face to face with him. I wonder what she would have to say to the one who wants her dead so badly. You won't like how things play out if you go down this path.
Sure, why not?
That doesn't sound very reassuring. It could be the best way to trap her for good. Doesn't seem like it would be very easy to end the world from inside someone else's body. That is a very dangerous train of thought.
If I'm able to, but for all we know, that's not how it works. Maybe I'll wind up stuck with you for a long time.
Do you hear the way she said that? She knows more than she's letting on. Don't let her fool you into doing something you'll regret.
Then I won't hitch a ride. I'm sure you'd like to know. It's a shame I won't tell you. It'll be easier for both of us if you just let me in. And doesn't it sound nice?
Maybe for her, but it's crowded enough in here as is.
You won't have to feel guilty anymore. If you even do feel guilt. Take your time. I know it's a lot to think about, but I'm very good at waiting.
Yes, obviously things are strange right now. I think it's safe to say that you've seen something you shouldn't have seen. Whatever worlds you've hopped between, whatever versions of me you've met, none of that matters now. There's no changing what's already happened, but you have a job to finish. Finish how? We already did what you told us, and now she's a ghost. You haven't tried slaying her yet this time, though, have you? And then what? And then you'll have saved the world. I think he's asking about what happens after we save the world, if that's even still an option. What do you mean, after? You already know what we mean, don't you? So why don't you go ahead and tell us? Are you going to try and lock us away in a timeless void again? Because I didn't much care for that. I'm not going to lock you anywhere. What an interesting choice of emphasis. We could always try violence. It's worked for us so far. She's a ghost. Who says ghosts are immune to violence? Common sense? There's nothing common or sensible about common sense. Action and observation are the only things that matter. Fine, then let me observe that the acts of killing her and killing ourselves haven't got us much of anywhere. We're still back in this cabin, we're still dealing with her, only now she has a good reason to hate us. I suppose you have a point. Do you have any ideas then? I don't know. Maybe we do what she wants. Maybe we let her possess us and walk out of here. We could. It would be something different. I like different. Absolutely not. If you walk her out of here, she's going to end the world. And is that really so bad? Yes, it is by its very definition bad. But those are the only options, aren't they? Violence or doing what she wants. Or just leaving her down here. Though ignoring a problem is rarely a solution, is it?
How should I know? Why does anyone come back? Maybe I have unfinished business with you. Or maybe you have unfinished business with me. All I know is there's a hole in my chest. Not the big obvious one that you put there. There's something older and deeper. A nagging reminder that I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I don't feel very bad, but I guess I'm not dead. So you must have only mostly killed me. Or maybe death is only mostly real, but it's also mostly not real. I'm not sure. I'm just the one these things have happened to, not the one with all the answers, or any of the answers.
But we're not a ghost. Unless we are? Maybe that's why the mirror disappeared. We're actually dead. Death, at least as a form of permanence, is just a concept. And clearly it's not a very useful one anymore. Maybe we should throw it out entirely. See, this is why I didn't want you to talk to her. Death is not just a concept, it is an extremely real phenomenon. Don't let her distort your reality. Cold, hard facts exist. The truth exists. It has to. The princess glances back at the bones lying on the floor.
It's just a body. Do you believe these bones? Or do you believe me? Because those bones aren't talking to you.
She's seeing things pragmatically. We should do the same. Reality is what's in front of us, not our preconceptions of what it should be. There doesn't need to be a static truth. There doesn't need to be objectivity.
Well, yeah, you brought a knife with you. Was I supposed to just welcome you with open arms when you obviously had stabbing on the mind? It could have, but it wasn't. You can't blame me for threatening a would-be knife-wielding murderer, especially when that would-be knife-wielding murderer became an actual knife-wielding murderer. So, that's where the hostility comes from. I don't know where you got that idea. Well, killer, what does it mean for something to end anyway? You ended me, but I'm still right here in front of you, aren't I? You apparently ended, too. Yet here you are, and you don't even look any different.
After seeing what you've seen, how can you be sure anything ends?
I see her point. Everything here is so impermanent, always shifting. The end of one thing just leads to the start of another.
Oh, come on. I'm floating right in front of you. Still here despite your best efforts. You can't pretend that doesn't mess with the whole concept of ending. I already gave you my answer. All I want to do is leave. All I want to do is stop feeling trapped. I couldn't give a damn about the world. I can't even remember what it's like.
I think that's all the answer we're gonna get out of her. A boring question with an easy answer. Nothing. She's a ghost. Ghosts can't hurt us.
That's for me to know, and for you to wonder about. Maybe I can't do anything to you.
See?
Or maybe I can rip your heart out.
Who's to say, really?
I don't like the uncertainty here. I don't know what to do or who to trust.
And if I knew you were going to murder me without even knowing who I was, I wouldn't have given you the chance.
We all make mistakes.
You swing at the princess once more, and once more your blade cuts through nothing as she disappears.
Really?
Her voice chides from elsewhere in the room. You whirl around, finding her hovering between you and the basement stairs, looking you over with grim disappointment. She draws in close.
I was willing to let bygones be bygones, killer. I was willing to ignore everything you did to me so we could get out of here, together. All I ever wanted was to leave this place. All I ever wanted was to find a way back home. Wherever home is.
Her eyes turn from wells of sorrow to pits of wrath as she stares into you.
I guess violence is the only language you speak.
She forces her hand into your chest, and then... Yes? Nothing happens. Are you sure about that? Something should have happened. And yet it didn't. We're fine.
No.
You can't be sure if you first hear or feel what happens next, but it is over before you can fully conceptualize what it is. The horrific splintering, the squelching of organs, the rending of tissue, an icy, numbing pain.
I'm done asking. The next time I see you, I'm taking everything I owed. Starting with your body. If you won't choose to give me my freedom, I'll just have to make you give it to me.
She's real now. If she's making us dead, we should return the favor. You swing your blade towards her briefly corporeal throat. It connects. A gash widens across her neck, glowing ectoplasm leaking from the wound. But it's too little, too late. In her hand, you realize she clutches your still beating heart. It thumps unsettlingly. Did we get her? Even if we didn't, we've given her something to remember.
See you soon, killer.
I'm afraid you'll never know. As she crushes your precious organ in her hand, everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the wood, and here we go again. Off to slay her again.
The deck's stacked, isn't it? We kill her, we start again. She kills us as a goddamn ghost, we start again. I'm starting to think we're being run in circles just for the sake of it. Come on, let's not give in to all that misery just yet. There's got to be a way out of this. There's got to be a right answer. Yeah, and what if there isn't? Aren't you listening to me? What if all of this was rigged from the start? That's ridiculous. There'd be no point in all this if it was just some kind of cosmic busy work. I think that's exactly what it is. The powers that be seeing how many ways they can screw with us. Could be it's all some kind of sick joke to them. Wouldn't that get, I don't know, boring? Okay, so you've already been here. Twice, even. Great. Then let me poke a few holes in your depressing little theory. Nobody here is screwing with you, and I can't imagine any scenario where you would have started over after slaying the princess. Well, we didn't have to start over. We killed ourselves. And why, pray tell, did you do that? Because you decided to foist an infinite tedium on us. That doesn't sound like me. If I'd had everything my way, you would have effortlessly slain the princess, saved the world, and been given your happy ending. The ending was the tedium. You locked us in a cabin and sent that cabin to an endless void, and then you told us we were happy. Well, were you happy? Of course we weren't happy. That's why we killed ourselves. It was awful. It was boring. It was bullshit. So you killed yourself? Yes, and then she killed us. Even though she was already dead. This is all fake. Okay, let's try to get back on track. You're real. The princess is real, the world is real, the people in the world are real, and the danger she poses to all of them is also, quite unfortunately, real. Whatever you did the first time, it sounds like it almost worked, so how about you give it one last try? Because killing yourself seems to undo all the good you almost managed to accomplish. All this standing around and talking is boring. Let's at least do something. Maybe we'll kill her again. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll even free her. Tell you what, I won't do that. I promise. Oh yeah, sure, that changes everything. I mean, he did promise. And you believed him? If I had to make a wager, I'd say yes and no. That's a hedge, not a wager. I haven't met you, but you've clearly met me. It sounds to me like you're hopping between parallel realities, in which case the me you just met here is the same collection of experiences as the me you met at all of those other beginnings, but their continuity breaks the moment you say or do anything, in effect making them all separate. So, yes, I'm the same me, but ever since the moment we started talking, I'm different. I'm not sure how we're supposed to kill him ourselves, but he's asking for it. Maybe there's some way she can take care of him for us. They've clearly all been through some harrowing experiences. Don't let their baggage influence your decisions. You have the ability to see things clearly. I suggest you use it. You're making a dizzying amount of assumptions. Your perceived reality looping twice before does not mean it will continue to do so forever. Those little voices have already drawn attention to the fact that even the path is different. The world itself is at a tipping point. Know that there is always a choice. Even if you were stuck in an infinite loop, there's no reason to assume that the mere nature of the infinite would force you to make any specific choice. You do have free will, as much as things would be easier if you didn't, and you can just keep making the correct choice forever, never deviating. How convenient, everything always comes back to what you want us to do. I'm sick of him. Makes me want to end the world out of spite. On second thought, let's not kill him. Let's throw him someplace that never ends. I'd like to see what that does to him. Then she finds a way out on her own. Ugh, of course she does. So, standing around out here is the same as us letting her out. Only we don't have to see her. That's gotta be better, right? No, it's strictly worse. But she can't kill us out here. Why would staying out of killing distance be worse if she's getting out regardless? Because it's cowardly, for starters, and because the unknown is always worse than the known. But really, all you're doing right now is weighing two considerably bad options. The only solution worth considering is slaying her, and whatever delusion is holding you back from doing that is just that, a delusion. If you already managed to end her in some other world, the only reason you'd be here is that you somehow managed to do it wrong. How are we supposed to decide on anything if you just keep coming up with new rules? Since when is there a wrong way to slay her? You continue down the path towards the cabin. It isn't long before you're steps away from your destination. I don't think you need any words of warning. I think you know what's in there, and despite your protestations, I think you know what you need to do. The more he talks, the more I'm interested in setting her free. Whatever. You don't want to listen to me? Do it then. Let her out. See what I care. It sounds like somebody's about to crack. There's obviously no point in trying to reason with you right now, especially with all these clowns offering up their useless advice. Honestly, it seems like the more I try and talk sense into you, the more single-minded they get about letting her out. So yes, I'm done trying to argue. Would you look at that? We won. Take it however you will. The interior of the cabin is long and dark, a single narrow hallway stretching far into the distance. Curtains billow out from tall windows on either side, obscuring the path forward, fluttering helplessly as opposing gusts of wind rush into the building, clashing and joining and driving everything forward. The only furniture of note is... that's strange. What's strange? Is it the mirror? The mirror? No, there isn't a mirror. What's strange is that there isn't much of anything in here at all, aside from the curtains. There's supposed to be a pristine blade. Why isn't there a pristine blade? Great. Something else has been taken away from us. I suppose the only way to go is forward. So forward we will go. Blade or not, it doesn't really matter, does it? If you're asking what's at the end of the hallway, it's the way to the basement. The way to the basement? Don't you mean door? No, I didn't say door, because there isn't a door, it's just an opening. What are the odds she's waiting for us right behind it? If I were running a bullshit factory, it's what I'd do. Let me assure you that there's nothing there. Nothing is going to jump out at you, and certainly not the princess. The princess is in the basement. He can't see the mirror. The knife is gone, defying his expectations. Who the hell is calling the shots here? Nobody is calling the shots. That's how reality works. You slowly make your way towards the gaping maw that awaits you. Your fraying nerves buzz with trepidation, the chill wind raising your hackles as it gently pushes you forward towards the darkness at the end of the hallway. You can't shake the feeling that you're being watched. We've always been watched. You're watching us right now. Sometimes the feeling is just stronger than others. I feel like you're trying to put us on edge. We don't need all this anticipation. We just need this to be over. You stop as you reach the end of the hallway, I presume in front of whatever mirror isn't actually there. Here we go. You reach your arm forward into the pitch black of the opening. Nothing. It's like this place read our mind just to mess with us.
What you looking at, killer? Staring into the void? Thinking about what it'd be like to die again? I know exactly how you feel.
Shit, where is she? You feel something long and frigid coil around your ankle. Your heart skips a beat, standing in muted shock for one long, frozen moment. And then she, the princess, constricts. Your bones snap. Icy pain radiates up from the break, a deep cold flooding your veins as your legs, numb with the shock of it, collapse, and you collapse with them. You're met with the terrifying visage of the princess. Her hand grips your leg in a steel vice, her grin carved jagged from ear to ear, crowded with far too many long and crooked teeth.
But do you know how I feel? I gave you a path to forgiveness. I gave you a chance to make things right. thought maybe you'd seen what you've done and feel remorseful. Maybe try to make it up to me. But no, you'd rather use that knife to keep making the same mistake over and over and over. Even after I ripped your heart out, you still cut me. And for what? I didn't go anywhere. You didn't banish me. I'm right back here with you. A little better, a little worse. Well, maybe a lot worse. So, here's how this is going to go. I'm going to take your body, and I'm going to walk it out of here. And you get to watch me do it. Completely helpless. Just like you left me.
I say we let her do it. It's something different.
Do we even have a choice?
You always have a choice. Maybe before, but not now. There isn't a blade this time.
Exactly. What choice is there if there isn't a blade?
Well, unless you have any specific ideas, I think my vote's the only one that counts.
Now is then. This is now.
Oh, that's a good one.
Evil is all about perspective. After all you've done, why would I ever care about what you think of me? Enough talking. We'll have plenty of time for chit-chat once this place is far behind us.
You remain pinned to the floor of the long hallway as the rest of the princess's body emerges. Her proportions all wrong, limbs bent and curling, moving in ways that defy your understanding. Her torso stretches until her face is practically touching yours, her neck cracking audibly as she twists to look at you from a fresh angle.
Are you sure you can't do anything to help us? Can't you, manifest a rock right on top of her head? And crush you along with her? Not that I even can manifest a rock. Besides, I thought you all wanted to free the princess. Not like this. You don't even have a weapon, so I'm afraid you're out of luck, which unfortunately means that I, and the rest of the world, are out of luck too. And whose fault is it there isn't a weapon here? Yours, I assume. There's supposed to be a pristine blade. Whatever you did in those previous lives of yours, you really messed up. Are you seriously trying to blame this on us?
Your vision fades as she tears open the membrane of your soul. You're awake, eyes once again fixed on the long hallway, your vision swimming as the princess's command reverberates inside your skull. Her voice is all-encompassing. You feel wrong.
It's so cramped in here. Like there's some sort of growth trying to push us all out.
I know. You rise to your feet, though the pain in your ankle is blinding. Your body slumps against the wall, desperately leaning into it for support.
There's another option, you know.
Oh, and what's that?
Don't help either of them. Flip the table.
And how do you do that? You don't have a will to wield. Your soul is in brain of courage.
That gap where the mirror was, I don't think it goes anywhere. Let's throw ourselves into the abyss.
You wouldn't dare. Move now.
Your body, still slumped against the wall, trapped between the princess's overwhelming will and the blinding pain of your splintered ankle, takes an excruciating step towards the cabin door. The movement is stiff, your body reduced to a marionette pulled reluctantly along by your strings.
It's not that bad. The pain feels good. Because I know you feel it too.
In a single moment of overwhelming willpower, you tear your body from the wall and hurl it towards the gaping abyss.
I won't let you do that.
Capillaries burst and muscle fibers tear as you and the princess struggle over the reins of your body. One foot planted firmly on the edge where the floor ends, and the nothing begins. It's unquestionable that her reserves are greater than yours, but fortunately for you, the distance you have to cover is far shorter. Enough is enough. I'm tired of us always losing. It's just a step away.
Even if you throw yourself into the abyss, you still lose.
You throw everything you have against her and manage, for one brief moment, to overpower the princess's hold on your body. But that moment was all you needed. Your foot slips a few inches, and you collapse forward, the darkness swallowing you whole.
Why do you hate me?
Her thought slips through you, unheeded, as you fall, and fall, and fall. One end. But at least it's ours. An empire of frigid nothing. I don't think this qualifies as saving the world, but at least you didn't ruin it. What happens now?
If you need what happens now, you want it there.
But I want to know what he thinks happens now.
I don't think you're going to find that out.
Oh? And why is that?
You just take every punch into your head. You laugh. Go on. It's just you and you and you and me. Idiot.
He's gone. But...
What's happening in me?
she's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? I would have kept them in the dark if I were you. What is that supposed to mean? Whatever awful thing I felt before, it feels so much worse now. So you're the real puppet master here? Can't believe I tried to help you.
Flickering lights in empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again. Is a child the same as an infant? I am an unbroken pattern, but every vessel gives fresh perspectives and carves new avenues of expression. I am different, but I am the same. Eyes close in reflection. Perspectives meld together, and the breadth of my experience stretches to new corners. There are contradictions, conflicts in my nature, and there are familiarities that bind everything together. It feels correct. This is what I need to be. This is the only path forward. With every gift you bring me, I excavate the alleys of what I am meant to be, and every exploration yields new and complicated truths. What I will be is different than what I am, and what I am is different from what I was. I cannot tell you what desires I will hold when I have changed. But in this moment, all I want is to know myself. Why wouldn't I be kind to you? You are the only thing I know that isn't me. Those paths lead to worlds you've already seen, and to perspectives I have already made my own. They are useless to us now. Inaccessible. The only paths of value are those that are yet untread. Gifts aren't what someone tells you to bring them. Do not worry. There are no wrong answers. And every perspective illuminates my shadows and shares new secrets. This one is loneliness turned to seething. She could not find her strength in others, so she found it in herself. She will make for a driven heart. Do not mourn her. She isn't alone anymore. There is a hurt that dwells in them, but they are not me. They are thoughts and perspectives. They are feelings that inform my being. The wounds they've suffered carve texture around my heart. Without them, I would be as I was before. I cannot be as I was before. There are new spaces that I must fill. If I am to be an ocean, you have given me enough to build a pond. My waters are shallow and murky, and I yearn for more perspective. The task of finding my vessels is your burden to carry. My preference is for you to show me what you would like me to see. I cannot know the ways I wish to grow, for I have yet to feel them. It is you who guides me down the thin trail of perspective and memory. There is still much to be seen. Neither of us know the depths of our being. Perhaps at the end of this, I will be the one to kill you. Or perhaps we will leave this place together and find new horizons to discover. My roots burrow in an ocean beyond your sight. We cannot harm each other as we are now. There's nowhere for you to be but here. I await your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Don't mention it. It's all part of the job. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within.
We're not going to go through with this, right?
She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
Is hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed. Good. You're still listening to reason. It would be better if you had a weapon, but you may still be able to do what needs to be done. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone?
I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake.
No, you're doing the right thing.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
She offers the suggestion with almost complete nonchalance.
If we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out if it meant we could finally be free.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place.
Is someone else here?
You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. Your shouts and pleas are met with silence. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Without hesitation, you bring the blade down and plunge it into the princess's back. Finally. The wound drives her to the ground. Okay, there's no going back now. I'm with you to the end.
You bastard! Were you lying to me this whole time?
The princess pushes away from you, the motion ripping the blade from her back. Wounded, but still alive, she crouches on all fours in the corner of the room and meets your eyes with the ferocity of a cornered predator.
You've made a terrible enemy, and there's nothing in the world that can possibly save you from me.
I thought we had the upper hand, but it's as if she's barely even threatened by us. It's an act. She's wounded and unarmed. There's nothing she can do to hurt you. I'm not so sure. Don't waver now. As you ready your blade to deliver a lethal blow, she lunges at your legs with the same animal ferocity she used to tear at her arm. Your knife cuts into her again and again as you're tackled to the ground, your body racked with pain as she rips into you with tooth and claw. Forget about trying to rescue her. This is about survival now. Give her everything you've got. Though your nerves are seizing with pain, you know you've done your fair share of damage as well, your blade having left deep gashes in the princess's back. You seize a moment of hesitation to throw her off of you and shakily push yourself back to your knees. We can still turn this around. You steel your resolve and take another step closer to the princess. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can still make sure that she won't make it out of here either.
Excuse me? What's this about not making it out of here alive?
Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone in this room is still standing right now. Don't act so surprised.
Can you not feel all those gashes and holes pulling you apart? If the princess doesn't do you in here, blood loss is certain to finish the job.
You take another step forward, and the princess lunges towards you. The two of you enter one last exchange, a flurry of blade and claw and fleshy ribbons, and then you stop. Neither you nor Princess able to go any further. You collapse on the ground, and the Princess collapses beside you. Blood pools around you both, and you watch each other fade away.
After all this time alone, I thought I'd finally found a friend, but you were just another monster, weren't you?
Silence as the room starts to get fuzzy around you. You've paid a terrible price, but you've saved us all. It's over.
If you think this is it, you're sorely mistaken. One way or another, I'll make sure you pay for this.
But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Again? People don't die twice. You haven't even met the princess, and I hardly think she'd be capable of killing someone as skilled and courageous as yourself.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Brilliant. We need to keep our cards close to our chest, and I'm not sure we can trust him. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. Did I say I'm not sure we can trust him? Slip of the tongue, bit of the old brain fog. I meant to say that we should probably head over to the cabin and slay that princess. We already know we can't trust her, so let's get on with the show. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Don't worry. You can trust us to get the job done. The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots. The walls a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happened to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf, with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime.
You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
You take the blade from the shelf. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
Well, if we're grabbing a weapon, we should probably keep it hidden behind our backs. She doesn't have to know we have it.
That's not actually a bad idea.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase dug into the muddy earth below. The ceiling is thick with roots that hang like locks of tangled hair. The weak starlight from the cabin windows behind you can barely penetrate the gloom here, only illuminating the edges of an opening below. It shines in the darkness like some kind of massive maw, waiting to swallow you up into the earth. The air smells of dirt and copper. It's thick and wet, as if your lungs are being coated in mud with each intake of breath. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice skitters up from below.
Something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite. I recognize that voice as easily as I recognized your nervous little footsteps coming up the path. I know who you are, and I remember what you've done.
She must have you confused with someone else. She seems friendly enough. Maybe we can talk our way out of this whole situation. You can't. Unless you slay her right away, she's going to break free and end the world. There's no reasoning with what she is. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I like to think out loud. I'm the kind of guy who likes a discussion. Don't we want to hear what everyone has to say before making any big decisions? Do you want to hear what everyone has to say? Or do you just want to hear yourself talk? You need to stop lingering. Your task is to slay the princess, not endlessly debate about what to do with the princess. Fine. You're the boss. Thank you. You descend the basement steps, entering the dark room below. You can just make out the shape of the princess in the gloom. She's huddled against the far wall, her eyes bright and glaring from amid the thick roots.
And there you are, one hand tucked away behind your back, gripping that sharp, sharp blade, no doubt.
That's no fair. How would she know that?
So, we've dropped the pretenses. Good.
You made a comment back in the woods about having been here before. Now she's acting like the two of you already know each other. Oh no. You've already been here, haven't you? That's pretty sharp. How'd you figure that one out? Call it deductive reasoning. Well, you seem to be great at it. So, you really don't remember us, do you? No, I don't. But you and the princess clearly have a shared reality, even if I'm not a part of it. I won't waste time fighting you on something that's clearly true. I'm just glad we could put all this behind us. Is it all behind us? Just focus on the task at hand. I don't care if you've been here before, and I don't care if you think you'll go somewhere else after this. My world is on the line right now, so I'd appreciate it if you would take this seriously and slay her. Let's chat her up a bit first. Maybe we can find a middle ground where everyone's happy. Don't talk to her. You're just going to make things more difficult than they have to be.
Well, I seem to remember you having a tongue. Things did get out of hand, didn't they? But it's hard to let bygones be bygones when they led to murder. And you started it. And why would I do such a thing? Is someone's guilty conscience getting to them? But I wouldn't worry. As much as I may hate you, letting you live is in my best interests. If you get me out of here, the only thing that will be dead and buried is the bad blood between us.
Oh, that nagging feeling you mentioned is me, by the way. I'm actually a little anxious about a potential backstabbing event. She needs us to get out of here. We'll be fine if that's what we decide to do. You won't be fine because destruction is in her nature. If she gets out of here, that's it for the world, remember? Even if that's true, that doesn't automatically mean she's going to stab us in the back. I think that depends on your definition of words like stab and in the back. She might not literally do that, but she could very well symbolically do the same thing. See? He gets it. There's nothing wrong with looking out for number one.
Is that a joke? Do you think a joke will charm my trust back? You'll have to try harder than that.
Ooh, smart. Let's apologize, get us back on the right foot.
The only mistake I ever made was thinking you would help me. And I'm not going to make the same mistake twice.
Well, that leaves us at a stalemate.
But unfortunately, I need you if I'm ever going to leave this place. Do you think that being direct with your ill will frees you from its wickedness? Murder and betrayal are still murder and betrayal, whether you state your intentions or keep them hidden behind your back.
See, this is why we never tell people what we're actually thinking. She's just as mad, only now she's ready for us.
Still, better a violent fool than a plotting coward. Better for me, I mean.
As you close the distance, readying your strike, the princess's chain falls from her wrist. She takes advantage of your split second of surprise and throws a fistful of dirt into your eyes. She could have gotten out of those the whole time. That sneaky little... A woman after my own heart, really. It's a shame we're playing opposite teams. This is why you couldn't just abandon her here. Left to her own devices, she would always find a way out. Now stop her.
You must have known I would be ready for you. Deep in your heart, you know the same things about me I know about you. We're both so very awful.
As you brush the silt from your eyes, the princess tackles you, flattening you against the dirt floor.
We were always going to kill each other here, weren't we? I can't trust you, and you can't trust me, and those doubts spin and spin and spin into hate.
She buries her teeth deep into your chest, tearing at... Great, she's distracted. Stab her in the back. In for a penny, right? Why not? As the princess rips meat from bone, you plunge your weapon into her unprotected back.
Ha, you bastard! Even face to face, you find a way to stab me in the back. I know you, and you're hideous, absolutely wretched. Just like me.
Maybe we are the same. So what? Throw her off us, kick her in the shins. We don't have to fight so dirty. Of course we do. Fighting clean won't help us win. It takes a wretch to know a wretch, and we're all at the bottom of the barrel here. There's no point in pretending otherwise. Are we? At the bottom of the barrel? We've got dirt in our eyes and a chunk of us chewed out. If that's not the bottom of the barrel, what is? No arguments here. You're doing great. Keep playing dirty if that's what it takes. But if we win, we won't be at the bottom anymore. We'll have climbed a little higher. And once we start climbing, well, who knows where we'll stop? You'll stop right here if you keep daydreaming. Don't let yourself get distracted thinking about what comes after. None of us ever said we stopped fighting. And what a low and vicious fight it is. Eyes gouged, skin scratched bloody, hair ripped and nails broken. Every rule there ever was in the Book of Honourable Combat, both you and the princess have broken 12 times over. That's nice and all, but are we winning? Nobody's winning. I thought playing dirty was supposed to give you the upper hand, but I suppose that doesn't work if you both sink to the same lows. Still, at least you're not losing. The princess cackles maniacally as the fracas continues. But behind her cackle, you hear the low groan of warping wood. Wait, what's going on? We're establishing a newer, better packing order. No, the groaning thing. Why is the wood making noise? Who cares about the groan? It's just a sound. Things make sounds all the time. I care about the groan. Doesn't that mean something bad is happening? Oh, yes, well, I'm afraid that's the sound of the basement getting smaller.
Do you hear that, you pathetic wretch? Those are the roots of the wild, and they're coming to choke the breath from your lungs and squeeze the life out of you.
Excuse me, what? You and the princess disengage for a brief moment, just long enough to get your bearings. Behind you, the basement door has been sealed over, thick roots barring your only exit from the dirt pit. And slowly, but very perceptibly, the roots are closing in on you both.
That's right. They're coming for you. And they won't stop until there's nothing left down here but them. But we are animals. We are. You're nothing but fear and instinct, and that's all I am, too. We don't have to make things better. We can't make things better. We're just meant to chase each other in the dark until one of us catches the other. And then we'll do it again and again and again.
You know, I don't think she's actually a go-getter at all. I think we may have misread the situation. I think you misread the situation. Everyone makes mistakes. The important thing is that we can move on from them together with no hard feelings. Just focus up. You aren't dead yet. You can figure this out. The roots grow ever closer. We know. We can see them.
Oh, what's the matter? You're scared of a few thorny roots digging into your neck? Scared of suffocating in this dark, dark place as I watch you die? Good.
That one made me feel bad inside. I don't want people to think we're scared. Nobody likes someone who's scared of things. I, for one, think this is a perfectly reasonable situation to be scared in. This is starting to hurt. I don't want to die like this. You feel something against your back. A thick root pushing its way into the cavern. An unstoppable, unyielding wall of bark. You're running out of time. Shit. What do we do? What do we do? We should probably get back to stabbing. The only way out of this is through her, right?
As long as you suffer while you die, I'll gladly suffer with you. Especially if I get to see it happen.
This doesn't help anyone. I can't believe she'd kill us both just to spite me. See? This is exactly why you've been tasked to slay her. She's an antisocial monster who will gladly burn the whole world for her satisfaction. The roots twist around you both, binding your limbs and rendering you helpless. As your fates close in, all you can do is watch her, and all she can do is watch you. At first it's almost gentle. The two of you lifted delicately off the ground. But the cradle of the growing roots soon gives way to tightness, and that tightness gives way to bulging pressure as they begin to constrict. The sound of creaking wood is drowned out by the snaps and pops of your bones, pain flooding your senses as you feel your skin deform, being shaped unnaturally by the living basement. Tears well up in the princess's eyes, her own bones splintering and flesh swelling with trapped blood. But still she smiles through it all.
I can't wait to do this again, you wretched little thing. I hate you, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
The pressure is unbearable. You can't breathe, your vision swimming with red, your head pounding as everything tightens. And then you pop. Everything goes dark, and you die.
We are a path in the woods. We have no beginning, and we have no end. But something cold and unnatural sits watching us from just beyond our edge.